Big question for the CNBC audience, though. Is Sonia Sotomayor good or bad for business? That's the topic of today's Power Grid. Let's hear now from conservative radio host Ben Ferguson and Mark Morial, president and CEO of the National Urban League. He was in the room this morning to witness Sotomayor's nomination. Welcome to Power Lunch, gentlemen. Mr. Morial, good to see you. This is not the typical segment that we usually have you in, so let me tell you what the rules are. We give each side 30 seconds. I time you, and then after that, we go at it. And I'm going to start with Ben. Ben, you get 30 seconds. Why do you think Judge Sotomayor is bad for business?
Well, I think the main thing is there's unpredictability. She has said openly, and she even said, I know this is being taped, so I shouldn't say it at Duke. She said, you want many judges like myself, and she basically said, legislate from the bench. That's why the appellate courts are so great. That's not the job of the Supreme Court, and she's bad for business because if you have a judge that's saying that you legislate from the bench, there's unpredictability. She's not looking at the law or the Constitution, and that's going to be terrible for business to know. We have no idea what this woman's going to do because she's a loaded gun. It's on her opinion, which is not what the Supreme Court's there for.
Mark Morial, 30 seconds.
Three things. One, she has a background as a corporate litigator. I think that's important. Secondly, she serves on the Second Circuit, which means she's had great exposure to business issues. And thirdly, business should, and I believe wants, what every litigant wants, and that is a judge who is fair, even-handed in their application of the law. And I think Judge Sotomayor is fair and balanced. Her record demonstrates that.
Hey, Ben, frankly...
But the problem...
Go ahead, Ben.
No, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I think the problem here, though, is what he said is she does have a lot of experience when it comes to business. The biggest problem is, if you actually look at her rulings, is she goes and she quotes often international laws instead of precedent in the United States of America. I think that's another issue of unpredictability is I don't really know what the laws around the world, I don't know what they really have doing in our courtrooms, especially the Supreme Court, but she loves to quote international law.
Ooh.
She's done it often. She's talked about it at Duke and other places, and that's another issue of unpredictability. We live
Mark,
in America.
what do you say about that? That's a pretty good blow, Mark. We got the best legal system in the world.
The real issue is she's an experienced jurist. She served on the trial court.
Well, that doesn't mean anything.
Wait a minute. You're interrupting me. And the appellate court. And we ought to have a civil and serious discussion about this. She does have a record of judicial decisions that one can look at, and I think she's demonstrated a degree of fairness. I like the fact that she was a private practitioner in a corporate law firm and a prosecutor and a trial judge and an appellate judge. So she brings all of those experiences to the Supreme Court.
Ben, what do you make of this comment about the wise Latina woman making a better decision than, say, an older white guy?
About what? Anything.
About
because
anything.
Of her life experiences.
Anything.
Ben, any thoughts on that? Or Mark, either one.
No, I mean, believe me, I mean, I've got plenty of thoughts on this one. That is another thing that scares me about this woman is she believes that somehow a guy that looks like me is not as qualified to be a judge. She's saying that we are too narrow-minded here. I mean, the talking points coming out of the White House that you're hearing today, they're very cute, they're very lovable. It makes me feel good that she has some experience, but we're talking about the Supreme Court of the United States of America. The same reason why Harriet Miers got kicked experience. This judge does not have real experience.
She's been on a bench for a long time.
We had this discussion this morning, and I knew you were going to do this. If you read her entire speech that she made, where she made that statement in 2002, the context of this statement that she made about the wise Latina woman versus the white guy was when it came to cases involving race and sexual discrimination. And to this point, she said, up until 1972, no Supreme Court case had ever upheld the claim of a woman in a gender discrimination case, and all cases like that up to that point had been all decided by white males. She's merely saying that
but how do we know that those cases weren't made based on the law?
But if you look at what she said before that, she actually called out the two women that had been on the Supreme Court, and both those women, coming from different perspectives, said that an older woman and an older man, when they look at and this is the main point I make here, when you look at the constitutionality of the law, should come to the same exact conclusion, and it shouldn't matter if you're male or woman.
You sort of nailed it, Bill, in the sense that people have taken her statements out of context.
Improved aerodynamics, top